It's not just that I'm reacting to my husband's behavior just because it's just bad behavior, but it's actually because there's something that he's doing that's triggering a strong response in me.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hi, welcome to A Better Us and to our home.
So have you ever heard the stat that men use approximately 7,000 words a day, while women, on the other hand, we use around 20,000 words a day?
I can believe that, that's
I
for
know
sure.
you can. Well, in today's program, let's just say you're going to get a lot of words.
You have no idea, because today's program is very different, as the entire program is taken over by just the girls. But guys, don't go anywhere, because there's a lot you're going to want to hear and learn.
Actually, Dr. Mary is going to help us figure out our fear dance.
Our what?
Yep, you heard me right. Our fear dance. According to Dr. Mary, we are all in the middle of our own unique dance.
Does this have anything to do with going around in circles with the same old arguments, or maybe being out of rhythm, and maybe the music has stopped, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
You know, no, you've got it. You've got it.
You think so?
And
What did I get?
how our basic fears are played out in seemingly innocent, everyday situations.
Well, this sounds good.
It's gonna be good, yeah. And all the girls chimed in with some candid personal stories of their own.
And joining you and Dr. Mary are all the usual A Better Us ladies, Diane, Kara, and Danielle.
You almost said all the usual better suspects, didn't you? No, we're not
Almost.
suspects, yeah. And also joining us on today's program is Sheila Ray Gregoire. She's the author of The Good Girl's Guide to Great Sex and several other books. And today Sheila's going to help us figure out what to do if we have a sexual drought in our marriage.
Now, those are some words I think all of us want to listen to.
I thought so. It's going to be a great show, so stay with us. All right, well, we are here with just us girls. Some dear friends opened up their home to us, and we're able to sit poolside with the girls. I've got Diane and Kara and Danielle and Dr. Mary. Dr. Mary is a clinical psychologist. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's been dealing with couples and individuals and families for over 25
And my own
years.
marriage, too.
And your own marriage, too. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
Good to know. Good to know. And we are so glad you're here with us.
Thank you.
on
So
Just
good to
Us
be here.
Girls. Okay.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about something that you call the fear dance.
Yes.
What is that?
It's just to scare people.
It works.
In actuality, if you think about the last few conflicts that you've had as a couple, and you put aside the content of what you're actually fighting about, your dance is kind of pretty similar. One of you is the one who kind of retreats, the other one's the pursuer. You kind of go quiet, or somebody goes explosive, and it just seems to be the same thing. And no matter how much you talk, you just keep doing this. And it's called the fear dance because it's triggering every time we do one of these dances. It's not just that I'm reacting to my husband's behavior just because it's just bad behavior, but it's actually because there's something that he's doing that's triggering a strong response in me. So in general, and it differs, but in general, women fear rejection and abandonment. So if my husband's walking away from me, because he's trying to calm himself down, I'm not going, oh, he's calming himself down, I should give him space. I'm like, he's leaving me. So what do? I either chase him or I use my words to catch him back. You leaving? Why are you leaving? And then of course, with men, their predominant fears are fear of failure, and guess what? This is terrible. Fear of being controlled. So then when you have your woman coming after you, telling you to stop and listen to me, ding, ding. First of all, I have failed as a husband here because obviously I didn't do it well. Even though I'm just trying to keep my cool, I'm trying to not get angry at her. And then she's trying to tell me to come back. She's trying to control me. So this is the typical fear dance. It can differ from person to person depending on, their background and all that, but that's what it is. And when I do marriage counseling with couples, you'll see that I actually rarely talk about the content of what they argue about, although that sometimes needs to be addressed. If I can help them figure out their fear dance, and you own your reactions, your triggers, and then your actions that causes his reaction and triggers that causes his action, then you can kind of plot out what that looks like. You can start to take responsibility for, I can break this part.
Right.
So I just thought this would be fun if somebody's willing to volunteer
Okay.
to
Fun
talk
for
about
who?
your
Fun
latest
for
fight.
you.
I love what I do. What can I say?
She loves her job.
No, I can't say. So whoever wants to volunteer to talk about their latest fight that they had, and let's just kind of talk it through and see if that helps the audience understand that a little bit better.
All right. Hey,
All right, you're
we
game.
have a volunteer.
Okay.
I see that hand. Why not, right?
Right.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Latest, we don't really fight. We just have conversations. That may get a little, you know. But let's see. Okay, recently, I was. Let's see. How do I put this? I sent an email, a business email, in a way that just trying to explain things that needed to transpire. And I had a conversation with my husband before this, and he suggested, I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh.
But I was like, I'm doing it anyway, right?
Oh, I love the inner dialogue.
Okay. So, send the email, and my feedback wasn't so great. And so then what do I have to do? Go to my husband and say, can you believe this? How dare they respond this way, right? So I'm reading him both emails, right? And he just stands there. And before I get to the second paragraph, he just lashes in. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have sent the email. I told you shouldn't have sent the email. This is what you should have said. It should have been. And I'm thinking, hold on, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be on my side. What's happening right now, right? Are you listening to what was said? And he's like, okay, how do we fix this? This is what you should have done. This is what you. And I'm thinking, no.
So if I can pause you there, what emotions were you feeling when your husband's telling you to fix it and that you did it wrong?
Yeah, I was like, first of all, I thought, you're not on my team.
Ah, you're not on my team.
You're not on my side.
So you feel
you're
like
taking
you're on
their
your own.
side,
Yeah.
right? I'm by myself. I'm trying to fix this problem, and then you're taking their side. So I was like, okay, I'm not liking this conversation right now, right? And he just begins to just tell me everything that I did wrong.
Ooh.
I don't want to hear what I did wrong. I already know I messed up, right? Tell me something good. Don't tell me what I did wrong. Help me fix this, right?
Yes.
But instead, I get everything that, well, you shouldn't have done this, and this should have said this way, and you should have made. Really?
So you got angry by the sounds of it.
I did.
Yeah.
I got a little heated.
But the thing that's interesting is that underneath it, I hear that you were actually really hurt. You felt alone.
I felt,
You felt like he was against you and not for you.
Yeah.
And although you reacted in anger because you wanted to just shut him down, your deep emotion was, be here for me, like walk with me. Which of course you didn't say that.
No.
So what happened is that the tension increased because now you're mad at him.
Yes, I
and
am.
all he's trying to do is trying to help you.
Yep, I was mad at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
And you were probably triggering, and when you're getting angry, if he's has a tendency to withdraw, he probably is afraid of conflict. And is it going to mean that she's going to be mad at me, and then she's going to punish me, and who knows what thoughts would have been going through your mind. Right? So here's another interesting example of a dance. It's different from what I just said, but you can clearly see, you know, your husband's desire to help went totally south. And and triggered all these strong emotions that led it to escalate. And this is what happens. And it makes you kind of go afterwards, wow, I really overreacted, but you can't quite pinpoint why. And it's because there's been some triggers of some deep-rooted fears or insecurities. So I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to share.
Who wants to go first? Okay. So what's that saying? If you dance with someone long enough, you're bound to step on their toes.
Yes.
Or have your toes stepped on.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying the fear dance does. We're stepping
That's
on
right.
each other's fears, and we're bound to get hurt.
Yes.
And now I think Dan and I are the most typical, what you're saying here, the wife's fear is abandonment and rejection, and then the man doesn't want to be controlled. And you know, for me, early on in marriage, I think I definitely had those fears, especially because my parents were divorced. I came from a divorce situation, so the feeling of needing to feel secure. And then I have a husband who travels and leaves me often. So it really
Makes you very vulnerable.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so then he felt, I'm upset that he's leaving, and it was just a situation where we're stepping on each other's toes because he's feeling controlled.
Right.
He's feeling like I'm not. How can I win in this situation? I need to go out and be the breadwinner, but I'm leaving you behind, and you're setting me up for failure either way. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, So we had, the dance, the tango, every once in a while over that for sure.
Yeah. And you're going to continue growing in your marriage. So 30 years later into the marriage, and I think I've worked really hard on my husband. He's mostly fixed. I hope he's not listening. But I find that even after years of being married, there will still come times where there's certain vulnerabilities, and
Absolutely.
boom, the dance is happening
Still
again.
dancing, you just have to step on their toes less.
Yes, or less frequently,
Less
maybe,
frequently.
and be quicker to say, whoa, I'm doing this dancing again, I need to stop.
Recognize it.
And be able to own it. So I did have one time where I was like, oh, I'm getting triggered here. When I was able to say that to him, it's not actually your fault. It's something going on in me, because when you said that, it reminded me of something my mom used to say to me all the time. And that just broke the ice with the conflict there.
Yeah.
I heard that a woman's mega need is security, and a man's mega need is honor and respect. And so when we're arguing,
Yes.
it really does tug away at those mega needs. I need security. I need him to hear me out. And he needs honor and respect. But if he's emotionally, staying back and listening and not really giving me what I need, then I might push harder.
Right.
And then he's feeling like that honor and respect need is being attacked. And so it really is a dance.
It is.
How to do it properly and in love, and realize, like
with
you're
respect,
saying,
yeah.
that we're different. We're wired differently. We think differently, and we react to each other differently. And it's okay. Neither one is wrong. We just need to learn how to do it right.
Yeah, and for men, when we get emotionally intense, they tell me that it actually hurts their brain. There's actual signals that go off that hurts their brain. So, we had been talking just between taping about how you can tend to go historical in some of your fights. So it's already done, dealt with, fight's past. Why are you bringing it up again? So I don't know, maybe you can talk to that a little bit.
Well, like you said, it's a dance. I've noticed that our fights, whatever the content is, the back and forth is still the same. I'm the pursuer. I want to just get this done and figure it out and get it over with. And Dan needs more space to process and time to figure things out and think through. And I'm talking a mile a minute and he's quiet. So it's, it has a similar look to it, but will often be different. But I can tend to bring up things from the past for sure.
It's not resolved in your mind.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? We talked about how women want security and want that protection and everything from their spouse. And that was interesting to me, because for me, I lost my dad when I was 18 years old, right? And he was murdered, brutally murdered.
Wow. Yeah.
And sometimes, especially early on in our marriage, I totally would find times when I would have to back off, because I was looking for that protection that I missed out on, right? I was looking for that, be there for me, hear me, protect me. And I found that because I lost my dad, during those years where it's teenagers, girls, very vulnerable, need that father figure, I didn't have that. And I was looking for that from my husband.
Right, exactly.
And it was wrong, right?
Well, that's what happens when there's been injury or loss. We tend to idealize and say, oh, surely it should be better out there if I can just find the right person.
Yeah.
And so for a young couple like you, Kara, surely this person's perfect, meets all my needs.
Yeah.
And the conversation can continue.
Yes.
I mean, we have so much to say and so much to share. That's why we love having these Just Us Girls times. And so, Kara, we're going to get you to talk a lot more on the next one. Okay?
Leave us hanging
In the
there.
meantime, we're glad you've joined us. Stay tuned. There's a lot more to come after this.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
You know, our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click Donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us. Okay, so we're back with Just Us Girls here, another time by the pool. Thank you to our dear friends who invited us to come and hang out with you here. We've got Dr. Mary with us again, a clinical psychologist, over 25 years of talking to families and couples and individuals about those personal stuff that we all need to talk about. Got Diane and Kara and Danielle. Yes. And okay, this is part 2 of the fear dance, because we had such a good conversation going before, talking about the fear dance, girls.
Yep.
Dr. Mary, give us again another synopsis. What is the fear dance?
Right. Okay. Well, if you think about the common conflicts you have within it, commonly is with your spouse, but it could be with friends and family. And it just seems like that no matter how many times you try to change things up, you find yourself falling in the same pattern. So content may be different, but the issues seem to be the same. And it would be something that my husband says that triggers a response in me, that makes me act out in a certain way that triggers a response in him, and then on it goes. And so typically for women, and it can differ from couple to couple, women's greatest fears are abandonment and rejection. So when we have those fears triggered, we will do things to try to draw closeness to our husband. But in so doing, we're pursuing our husbands. Well, the husbands, on the other hand, their greatest fears in general tend to be a fear of failure and a fear of being controlled. So can you imagine if we're chasing him down and trying to get him to hear us? He's going bing, bing, bing. Okay, I'm a total failure as a husband, and you're trying to control me, and I'm out of here. So that's kind of the fear dance. Yeah.
I think we all have experience with that in one way or another. I know with my husband, he's more of the laid back guy, and I am more of the confrontational, not confrontational, but I just like to talk things out. And so, and if he's not rising to the occasion, I tend to, okay, why not? And he backs off even further, and it's a dance. Like you said.
Yeah, because you want resolution, so you get anxious.
And Eric and I are 4 years in, and we're still learning this and our dance and how we work together and everything. And I find that sometimes if I feel like I'm lacking in an area or rejecting that fear of that, then I might put that on Eric. And then that starts a conversation or a fight because I feel so disappointed in an area and I just put it all on him. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then we have this dance together of figuring out, okay, what is the issue? Why are you feeling this way? And him being like, why are you acting out this way? Like, I didn't do anything type thing. And it's really interesting to just figure it out together 4 years in. And yeah.
And I think you make an excellent point, because that's what we tend to do. When we're triggered, we're more likely to project blame on the other person. You made me feel this way, so stop the behavior. But how we actually help couples break the fear dance is that we draw this line in the middle, wife on one side, husband on the other side. What are your actions that causes what reaction in him, and what are your reactions as he acts towards you? And as you write them in there, you can then say, okay, I can't blame him or project onto him or expect him to change in this area, but I can change this area. I don't have to be so reactive. I don't have to be so attacking and critical. I can choose to engage in conversation. So if I can own that part of it, then it begins to change the dance. And we have done one-person marriage therapy where if at least the one person is able to own their part of the dance, if you've ever done dancing lessons and one person changes the dance, the other person has to follow. Right? So that's, it's not something that, oh, my husband has to come and figure this out together. It's something that you can do yourself.
Well, it's so good that we're having this conversation because so much of our conflict, you're telling us, is based on fear.
Yeah.
And that's more us taking ownership.
Yep.
Whereas when we don't realize that, everything's blame, like Kara
Yes.
was saying, I'm putting that on my spouse. And so when we can recognize and take ownership, it just, it sets you on the trajectory to actually problem solve and work on those fears and rather than just blame.
Yeah, and sometimes our spouses genuinely hurt us. They can be unkind and sometimes even abusive for some marriages. So it's not to negate that, but it's to recognize I actually have no control over that behavior. What I do have control over is my response to it and also the boundaries that I'm going to set that won't allow that behavior to happen. But just putting it on our side of the line gives us so much freedom to actually make a change in our life, in our dance, and even the way we react to our husbands so that we are no longer doing this crazy dance.
And think about when we take ownership, then our spouse is freed up. They're going to be more encouraging, they're going to be more understanding, they're going to want to work through things rather than becoming the enemy,
I think it's when we take our eyes off of ourselves, because so often as women we think, well, if he really knew me, he would know that this is bothering me and I need to talk it out and da-da-da. But if I love what you said, write down what about me and about him, and then we start to understand him. We put our eyes on him and say, okay, maybe that's why he's acting the way he is, and so what can I do so that I don't cause that to escalate?
Right. And if you are interested in hearing about it, I didn't actually make up the term the fear dance. It was done by the Smallies. So the DNA of relationships at the back of the book has the questionnaire. And it'll get you very specific information about what are my triggers, what are my fears, and then he has to do it as well. And then you draw out the chart and then be, oh yes, this is us in a nutshell. So that could be a very helpful tool.
Was early on in our marriage, I realized that I was talking at my husband and not really trying to have a conversation. And one day he just told me, he was like, can you just not talk at me?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, right? I had to take some time and say, he's right. Because I was just talking at him.
I wonder how many of us do that without even realizing
We
it.
talk
That's
a lot.
good
conversation.
Point.
We talk a lot, right? Women talk, what, I don't know, 5,000 more words?
Seriously.
At least. That's before coffee.
Seriously.
Coffee goes way up after that.
Yes, very true. Yeah, so then that's, if we are talking so much and he can only perceive a certain number of words, then it becomes very difficult. The thing I have to say too, in general, most women are a little bit more quick to articulate how they feel. And so with my husband especially, I have to regularly invite him into dialogue. And a lot of times he'll say, I don't know. But I know because his body language is saying, I'm so mad at you. I'm like, I don't know, I'm not mad. Oh, no, you're mad. And in fact, actually, they say that the observer is like lightning fast, more quick to pick up on your anger than you will. Because you won't feel it, but your body language is oozing it up. And so I have found that I've had to kind of gently encourage him and invite him and try to be really non-confrontational, try not to react, which is hard. I have to be biting my tongue all over the place. And just say, like, I really want to know what you're feeling right now. Like, what's going on for you? And sometimes it takes several goes at it because he's not a very verbal guy. And it's easy for me to kind of, well, I know how you feel, la 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 la, and give him all these words. And by the way, I could be right. But not necessarily, because I'm projecting onto him what I think it should be. And because of the work I do as a psychologist, there's a part in that says, well, I guess she's right. It doesn't feel right, but I guess she's right. And I'm just want to be done with this conflict. So yeah, you're right. And that doesn't resolve it.
You know, Dr. Mary, we're so glad you're right.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here because we are learning so much, aren't we? About ourselves, about our husbands, about our marriages, and we're glad you're here too. So stick around because there's more Better Us coming up right after this.
If you have had a sexual drought in your marriage and you want to get started again, or if you have major libido differences, scheduling sex can help you get out of the rut. Because let's face it, often we don't end up making love because it's the last thing on our to-do list. if the dishes are done, and if the kids go to bed at a decent time, and if my emails are all answered, and if I feel 100%, and if I'm not ticked off, and if I don't want to be up early, then when I hit the pillow at 11, maybe I'll consider having sex. That's a lot working against sex. But if you schedule it and you say, you know what, every Wednesday and every Saturday, we're going to rock each other's worlds, or whatever you pick, then you know that you will be connecting, and you can derail some of these issues before they derail sex. For women, so much of our sex drives is in our heads, and if our heads are not in the game, our bodies don't follow. Sex really is not about what he's doing as much as it is about what we're thinking. But it's really hard to get your head in the game if you're just going about your normal routine with kids or your job or housework. If, though, you know that tonight you're going to have some fun, you can think more positively about it. You can flirt with your husband more. You can send secret texts, like looking forward to seeing all of you tonight. Or you can even just smile at a stop sign during your day, remembering what's going to happen. But scheduling sex has its drawbacks too. I'm a firm believer that if we start telling ourselves positive things about sex, we can turn some of these drawbacks around, but I'm sure that most of us know what it's like to have sex just because you feel guilty. It just becomes an obligation, and people don't necessarily want that. And if you do agree to scheduling sex and the night comes around and you really don't feel like it, you can end up resenting sex and your husband even more. So for scheduling sex to work, here are 2 tips. Think of the schedule as the minimum, not the maximum. If you decide on Wednesday and Saturday and then you feel a little frisky on Monday, then do something on the Monday. Don't turn off those feelings because, well, I don't have to tonight. Feel free to explore them too. Scheduling sex should not eliminate spontaneity. It should just make sure that you do connect regularly at a minimum. Second, when you schedule sex, you don't just commit to having sex, you commit to being enthusiastic about it. For many low libido spouses who find it difficult to get motivated for sex, scheduling sex can be a great idea. Once you start to make love with relative frequency, you do start to yearn for it more, and you may even start to enjoy it. And then it may become more frequent all on its own. If you do these 2 things, then scheduling sex might give your marriage the jump start it needs. But making a schedule can never make up for a lack of enthusiasm or for the feeling, at least I'm off the hook now. You were created to live an abundant life, and that includes an abundant marriage and an abundant life in the bedroom. So throw yourself into it and see what happens.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video. Well, it was great hearing from all the ladies of A Better Us. You girls did use a lot of words, though.
That's so true. But I love it how when women get together, while we do use a lot of words, we speak them from our hearts. Open, honest, candid. And really, that's what we would love to have with you guys.
Actually, according to marriage expert Jimmy Evans, open and honest communications is one of her top 3 needs. So guys, we need to know that and let that sink in.
And it's as we talk about things beyond our everyday lives and schedules with the kids, it's when we do that. That's when our marriages go to that deeper place, a place where that fear dance can stop.
As we travel and do marriage seminars, we encourage couples to set aside time for the feelings level of communication. And guys, don't let that word scare you or launch you into a fear dance of your own. It might not come naturally, I know it doesn't for me, but that kind of talk is so vital for a healthy marriage.
Maybe that's not so easy for you right now. Perhaps there's a lot going on in your relationship, but you're hoping that things will turn around. A great place to start is with prayer. So we invite you to call our prayer line and ask God to begin the healing in your marriage.
The toll-free number is on the screen, and our prayer team is there for you. They would love to help you discover the greatest hope any of us can ever have for life and marriage. And it starts with a personal relationship with Jesus.
That's the best foundation for a solid marriage, because with God's help, there is always hope to become a better us. Thanks for joining us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.